Hi there, BookTube! My name is Cristina and today I'm here with one of the videos that will conclude this 2020 here on BookTube for me. And it's a video that I'm doing because of one of the goals that I had for this year and for my previous year, and it's to start unhauling books. And this year, actually, because of all the time that we had to think and ponder about a lot of things, I really try to be very sincere with myself and to decide which books I want to keep, which ones I want to give away. And I have a bunch of books and they're all here for different reasons. But before going into those I'm for sure will give away, I will start with a short bunch that I'm not so sure about. So just to know your opinions about them and what do you think about this. So let's start with the very first one. It's a very well-known YA series and it's Red Queen, the very first one by Victoria Aveyard. The reason why I'm not so sure is because this one is one that I received in a subscription box back in the days, and it's in French. So that's the only reason why I'm still kind of holding on to this book, because I don't know that many books in French. But then on the other hand, if I have to be sincere, am I interested in this kind of story nowadays? The answer is no. I'm not in the typical kind of YA fantasy, very big dystopical with this kind of character. Plus, I know that this series has very mixed reviews. People rave about it and others hate it because it doesn't add anything to the game. So I'm not so sure. I'm more like on the side of giving it away than keeping, because just because it's in French, I don't think that it's a good reason to keep this one, but let me know. Next I have a book that I will probably give away after I will read it, because I'm still interested in reading it, but I don't think that it's something that I will be keeping in my collection, but we will see. It's a book written in Italian by an Italian author. She's called Oriana Fallaci and it's Quel giorno sulla luna, That Day on the Moon. And what I remember from this one, this is something that I was kind of given with a newspaper that I bought, and this is more or less like, it's not a retelling, but it's like the narration of what happened on the day when men landed on the moon. And I don't know if it's from the perspective of the person who arrived, people who arrived on the moon, or the perspective of what was happening on Earth that day. I don't know. It seems quite interesting as a concept, but I don't think it's something that I will be keeping. So I will read it and then I will decide what to do with this one. So probably not this year, but maybe the next one. This one will go. Then I have two short books. The first one is not mine. It was in the collection of books that my boyfriend had. He's not into it. He doesn't remember why he owns it in the first place, and it's very short. It's by Henry Mackenzie and it's Memories of Druids and Bards. And the reason why I'm on the fence, because it's a very beautiful and limited edition. It had only 500 copies. It's printed on this kind of pergamon-like paper, papyrus kind of paper, let's say like that. And I don't know the content, so I will give it a try, and then if I'm not interested I will give it away, but he's not interested in it, so we don't know what to do with this one right now. And the next, again from his collection, is a book that he was gifted. It's by Schopenhauer, so it's kind of a philosophy book, L'arte di trattare le donne, or the art of treating women, the art of behaving with women. I don't know how it was translated in English actually, but anyhow, it's very short. So again, I will give it a try. I will see if I'm interested, because dealing with this topic, it can be really hit or miss. I mean, being published back in the days, that can go wrong in so many ways. So I don't know, I will see what I think about it, and then probably I will give it away or will keep it. And the last one about which I'm on the fence is a duology, a very recent one, and It's Spin the Dawn and Unravel the Dusk, both by Elizabeth Lim, of course, and this is a bit, I don't know, I have mixed feelings because the object, like the physical object of this book, I adore. It has a beautiful cover, it's beautiful underneath, I love the simple style with just kind of the pressed image on it. It's lovely, and again, I very much enjoy the physical object. But as far as the content is concerned, I read it, I kinda enjoyed it, but I'm not a huge fan. I don't think that I will reread it in the future, so I'm a bit on the fence with this one. I know that it's so many people's favorite, and I'm so sorry, but I've not enjoyed it that much. So I don't know what to do with this one. I'm still considering what to do. Do you have suggestions? What do you think about it? Because I love how they look, but I don't think that I will ever come back to them. So, don't know. And now let's get to the actual giveaway. So the first 3 books are the first 3 in a series, and they are The Book of 3, The Black Cauldron, and The Castle of Lear. And they are part of the Black Cauldron collection. The total, like the complete series, is 5 books. They are very short, but I read the first one, I bought the second and the third one, and of course as used copies, as you may see, but I never had the desire to pick it up. I'm currently even forgetting what the first book was about, if not for the movie, the animated version of it that I've seen. It was lovely, but I don't see myself getting back to this series and completing it, so I will give it away and will hope that someone will actually love it. And when I tell that I'm giving away books, I will try to sell them in a second-hand bookshop, or I will try to speak with my library and see if some of these books are kind of fit for them. I don't know how it works. I never tried to give my books to a library here in Italy, but we will see how it works, because I don't want them to go wasted, kinda. I don't want to throw it away, of course, so I will try to sell it that way. I'm not selling them on Depop or stuff like that, just because I don't know how well it will go. It's often more trouble than not, plus with the current pandemic situation, going always to the post office is not very ideal, so I'll see. Then the next one is a book that I read this year, I believe, and it's Il profumo della luna by Selene Calloni Williams, and this was a very unique story because it was the story of a woman who visits a couple, a woman and a man in Siberia. They are kind of shamans, and this book is, I don't know how to describe it. It goes places, but will I ever reread it? Has anything from this book really stayed with me? I can't tell, so I believe that I will give it away. Next again is a book that I read at the beginning of this year and I already decided to give it away, and it's Vasilisa the Wise, retold by Kat Forsyth, illustrated by Lorena Carrington. This was such a disappointment because it was short. Yes, it is kinda illustrated, there are prints all around and just cutouts, paper cutouts and things, but it was 22, I believe, yes, no, it was 21 euros. And it's so much. When I ordered it, I thought that it will be kinda a hardcover, big illustrated book, but it's tiny, and I've not enjoyed the content that much to hold on to this one. I will never reread it, and even the illustrations inside, they weren't like the things that I love the most, so I will give it away. I'm very sad about it because it was, in my opinion, personally for me, a waste of money because it costed too much. I mean, for 21 euros you can have a full hardcover here in Italy, so I don't see the point, and I will for sure pay more attention in the future. about the format and everything of the book before spending that much money. Next is a book that is very beautiful, but again I'm giving it away just because I don't see myself rereading it, and it's The Princess and the Goblin in this beautiful edition by Macmillan, by Macmillan, and I own Pollyanna, I believe, and Peter Pan in the same edition. But this one, honestly, I mean, it's beautiful. It's fully illustrated in a very manga-like style. Let me show you. It's just cute, and there are some colorful illustrations on the inside. It's beautiful. The story itself, I mean, will it stay with me? I don't think so. It was funny and enjoyable for the moment, but plus I discovered that it's like the first one, and there are sequels apparently, but I'm not interested in this story, not in the slightest. So beautiful, yes, but if I have to be honest, I don't want to keep this one, so I will try to donate it or sell it, or we will see. And from here on we're moving in a more kind of controversial space, because some of these books are some people's favorites, so let me get to them. Sorry if I'm moving around, but my feet staying like on my knees are hurting so much. And I have two books that are actually from my boyfriend's collection. He never finished them, he's not interested in reading them. He told me that if I want to, I may read it and see if I want to keep them. So I decided to keep them and to read the first chapter and see what I think about them. But then years passed, like one full year already passed, and I never had the desire to pick them. So the first one is by Marcus Heitz. In Italian it's Le Cinque Stirpi, or the five, how can it be called? Oh, here I have it in German, it's Die Zwerge, but it's like the five families. The five families meant like heraldic families, like with elves and dwarfs, and from what I get, this one is about dwarfs, and it's a fantasy, it's a chunker, so potentially I may enjoy it, but I never had the desire to pick this one up, so it will go. On the same note, I have one young adult fantasy that's very popular and has been very popular here on BookTube, and it's The Fall of Fallen Kingdoms, or The Fall of the Kingdoms in Italian. In English, Fallen Kingdoms, okay, by Morgan Rhodes. And this was hugely popular because people kind of advertised it, marketed it like Game of Thrones, but for young adults. And again, never had the slightest desire to pick it up. So I already read Game of Thrones. I don't need a young adult version of it. So this one will go to. Next is a book that I'm giving away without reading it, which is kind of strange for me, but being mine, and I own it for quite a while, and it's by Haruki Murakami. Again, even stranger, because I enjoy books written by Haruki Murakami, but I have a reason. So I will be giving away this one, and it's my copy of 1Q84. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it 84, 84? I don't know how it was intended, but I'm giving away this one because my copy has in it the first and the second volume, and there are 3 volumes, so there are other editions that are kind of complete, and so I want to buy it or in English or in Italian, but in a complete version, because I cannot find the third one alone, and yeah, so that's the reason why I won't be keeping this copy, or maybe I will listen to it as an audiobook, I don't know, but I don't want to keep this copy being an incomplete one and being me unable to find the third one, so this one will go. Then I have one about which I'm kind of sorry, but I do think that I will never reread it, like for sure and for real, and it's by Alice Hoffman, and it's Practical Magic. I know, but this is the case one case in which I enjoyed actually the movie more, and the book was so and so for me, and I will give away probably the other one that I have at my parents' house currently, even if I will be listening to the third book that came out, Magic Lessons, I believe, and it just wasn't for me. Like the book itself, I don't know, I didn't have that cozy happy feeling as from the book or the spooky ones, for example. It was just in between. I know that the book is different from the movie, but still I prefer the movie in this case, so I will give it away even if it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. Then I have the first one in a manga series. It's kinda a manga. I mean, the format is that of a manga. The illustrations are not very manga-like, but it's Girl from the Other Side by Seul Arun, I believe. And this is quite a unique manga. I mean, the illustrations inside are very eerie and very perfect for October, November, a bit of spooky, and the story itself seems like the premise of the story seems interesting, but again, I got the first one and I never had the desire to buy the second one. Plus, as you know, as I already told you, mangas are kind of pricey. This short one was €6.50 and it's so much. I mean, for €8 you still can find some paperback books, and this is so short. And I know that mangas require a lot of effort, and illustrations are things of beauty and they take time, but it's just too much. €6.50 for this short book, not for me. Plus, the story apparently wasn't catchy enough for me to continue, so this one will go. And then there is another one, and this is a favorite of so many people, so I'm a little bit guilty about it, but it's Monstrous by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. So this book, it's a graphic novel of amazing and stunning beauty inside. The illustrations, they are just like so beautiful, so detailed. So the art part of it made me really left me really mesmerized, but the story itself wasn't for me. It was very graphic, kind of violent, and I don't know, even if it has huge potential, I never had the desire to buy the second one or the third one, so I believe that it will be better to give it away and to let someone else enjoy this story. Maybe someone out there is really searching for it, so I will let it go and let it find a new home. And we're near the end, I promise. Now we have the most controversial ones, of course, and the first one is Wildwood Dancing. I'm a bit devastated about giving this one away because it's by Juliette Marie, and she is one of the most beloved kind of fairy tale fantasy writers out there. So many people recommend her, and it wasn't for me. As if you're watching my channel for long enough, you know that when I read this book I kind of suffered because it took me so long. I ended up in a slump. It wasn't what I was expecting, and I own the second book. I have the whole duology, and this is one of the reasons why I learned for myself that I need to stop buying complete series. I need to go in order. I need to read the first one and then to read the next ones. So this one wasn't for me. I will never reread it. Realistically speaking, I will never pick up the second one, but it's at my parents' house, so when I will give that one away, it will be in a different video in the future probably. And I love this cover so much. It's so beautiful. I love this author, this illustrator, but unfortunately the story for me wasn't worth it, and so bye book. Next one again is so well beloved, and I've not enjoyed it, and I'm starting to think that I have some problems with this author, and it's American Gods. Again, if you're watching my channel for long enough, you know what is my opinion about this book, but it wasn't what I was expecting. The premise of the book was really fascinating to me, like gods who are living here on Earth and are kind of adapting to the current situation of the world. They need to gather like people who still believe in them, and they need their power, and it had such potential. Just the topic itself was so interesting, but it wasn't for me. After I read it, first of all, it left me nothing. Second of all, it took me ages to finish it. And third, it just wasn't what I was hoping for. It had such a potential in my head, but the execution was so strange, so all over the place. There were so many moments where there was the potential for some amazing things to happen, and they never happened. That, no, I'm giving away American Gods. I know that it's a favorite of a lot of people, but it's not for me. And with Neil Gaiman, I'm realizing that it's really a hit or miss for me. I have a couple of books, like mostly his middle grade books, that I really enjoy, like Stardust, like Coraline, but his adult things, or young adult, like Neverwhere, or this one, wasn't for me. So it's going. And the last one, I don't think that it's like a surprise if you're watching my content regularly, but here it goes. I'm giving away the full box of The School for Good and Evil, the complete series. Actually, it's not true, it's just the first trilogy, because more books are out at this point. And this is the story of Sophie and Agatha, two best friends who end up in the realm of fairy tales, who are kind of whisked away, and there is a school for good and a school for evil. And Agatha, the one with black hair who lives at a cemetery, believes that she will end up at the school for evil, and Sophie, who's the blonde princess-like one, thinks that she will end in the school for good. But when they arrive, then they're kinda swapped. So from here, all kinds of shenanigans start. And if I have to tell you about this whole trilogy, I will just kind of sum up it with first one, on point, a good one. It was supposed to be a standalone, in my opinion. It should have stayed a standalone. That ending was perfect. End it like that. Never go back to that book again. But unfortunately, then there was the second one, and the second one I rated like 2 stars. I had major issues with it. I have a review, kind of the most ranty review that I have on my channel. I don't like filming that kind of content, but I was so pissed at the content of that book. And then the third one, I DNF'd. I straight DNF'd it after reaching 50% of the book. So that went downhill for sure. First one, 4 stars. Second one, 2 stars. Third one, DNF. So I'm giving away the whole series. I know that there are people who love this book to bits, but not me. Oh no, they're going, and I'm not regretting it, and I'm sorry if they're like the best thing you've ever read and that you love and you're listening to me talking badly about it, but they were not for me, and I hope that they will make someone happy out there. And this was it. These are all of the books that I decided to give away from my bookshelf here in my apartment. So I have a bunch of other books at my parents' house that I would have to go through in the future, but for now, this is it. These are the books that are leaving my home, leaving me a little bit more of space on my bookshelves, and I'm already feeling lighter and better. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if there are some books that you're planning to unhaul this year before the start of the next year, if you're kind of decluttering your bookshelves too. And I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye! Ciao!